climate change is considered the biggest global health threat of the 21st century. Over the past 125 years, the global average temperature has risen at a rate never previously observed over the Earth's 4 billion year history. The main driving process is thought to be from human industrial and agriculture activities that emit CO2, methane, and other greenhouse gases. These gases absorb heat from the sun, re-emit it into the atmosphere, increasing the overall temperature on Earth. As a result, the global average sea level is about 20 centimeters higher than a century ago. Glaciers all over the world are melting, with a decline of Arctic summer ice coverage at 13.3% per decade. Areas like South Africa and Mediterranean are becoming drier, whilst rainfall of the Indian summer monsoon are becoming more intense. Climate change can directly cause heat waves, droughts, storms, and floods. It can also indirectly affect health by the resultant effect on water quality, air pollution, changes of land use, and ecological changes. The risks of the individuals to these changes are heavily affected by a number of social dynamic factors. Often, those who are affected by climate change are not those who caused it. One stark example can be found in southwest Bangladesh, one of the most vulnerable areas in Southeast Asia. With a rising sea level, sea salt can enter into drinking water, especially with a poorly protected infrastructure. Salt intake amongst pregnant women in this area are 7 times higher than allowable limits. This is greatly linked to maternal hypertension and preeclampsia, which are causes of premature delivery and maternal death. The increasing pace of globalization accelerates the spread of urbanization and industrialization across the countries. As a result, this increases the consumption of resources. On the other hand, globalization allows for global collaboration. We're all in this together, so we must work together to protect our planet. In 1992, the UNFCCC was formed in an effort to stabilize greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere. Since then, annual COP have been held to assess progress in addressing climate change. At COP3 in 1997, 193 countries came together and signed the Kyoto Protocol, where developed countries put an obligation to reduce carbon emissions. However, many questions were raised. What was an appropriate target? What was considered equitable between countries? In 2009, COP15, a highly anticipated event, ended in disarray. As a result, a bottom-up approach was introduced, where each country must declare its intended nationally determined contribution in advance of the COP. At COP21 in 2015, the Paris Agreement was successfully reached. The government agreed a long-term goal of keeping the increase in global average temperature to well below 2 degrees above its pre-industrial level, and to aim to limit the increase to 1.5 degrees. By 2100, a 2-degree temperature rise would mean the disappearance of Arctic summer ice, whereas a 1.5 degree would enable the ice to remain. There will be a significant amount of land loss out of the ways. At 2 degrees, 99% of coral reefs will be lost, whilst 1.5 would mean 70% would recover by 2100. November 2021, despite of the COVID-19 pandemic, COP26 was held in Glasgow. Nations focused on 4 aspects in order to keep the Paris 1.5 degrees alive. Firstly, mitigation. Countries have agreed to move away from coal, to end deforestation. For the first time, the topic of methane was brought forth, and there was a drive towards electric cars. Adaptation focused on helping those already impacted by climate change, including a record amount of adaptation finance being pledged. Developed countries have committed to contribute $100 billion per year to climate change. Finally, the pact calls for collaboration between governments, businesses, and civil societies in order to accelerate the climate goals. Final food for thoughts. No low-carbon transition is without trade-off in terms of different dimensions of sustainability and equity. How do we minimize that? Secondly, could we bring a health voice into the climate change debate to help to accelerate the response?